Thanks. Welcome, everybody. We're going to give people just a couple more minutes to kind of come on in, and then we will open the floor to any Q&A questions. I have the Q&A area open. I also have the chat open as well, so you can easily see, or so you can easily communicate with me as I demonstrate your questions. So feel free to populate that information there, and we'll get started in about 1 more minute. So if you want, go ahead and take this time to write up your questions, and we'll get to it.
We got your email, James. We've been working on it this morning. No problem, man. It's a good ask.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. So, any comments or questions? And yes, James, we'll get to your question right now. I'm about halfway through it. Been working on it in the background. But any other questions before I get to James's? All right. Well, I don't see any questions. We're just going to jump right into James's question. Move this over here. Let me read it aloud, and I'll show you where I'm at. I'm about halfway through it, and I'll also give you the ability to talk. Let's see. I don't want. So let's go ahead and find that email. Inbox. Da, 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 da. There we go. So here is the question, everybody. The question was, I have a use case to allow non-decisions knowledgeable users to update field labels like watermark text, visibility, enable fields on forms without having to access the form itself in the form designer. I would like to produce a page that would list all of the attributes. They could change a report format so that any form could be passed in by form name to allow the end user to change the above attributes. The above attributes being the watermark text, visibility enable fields, and so on and so forth. My idea is to access the form fields attributes through the corresponding metadata tables and control access to only change very limited attributes for any given form configuration-based design. So yes, so that's what you can do. So if you can expound, how far have you gotten that process? Like what metadata tables have you been looking at?
No, I haven't found them yet. This is just a use case that came to my attention because what we're running into here is folks, they're a little daunting. They're daunted by decisions, our end users getting in, but they want the ability to change simple things on forms, but they don't want to have to learn decisions form design and how to go into a form to do it. So what I would like to do is present them with like a simple page that they could, okay, these are all your labels, these are all your fields that I can specify specifically what they can and can't change. Okay, it would be a configuration type thing where I can say, yes, you can change this label, and no, you can't. Things like that. But and then allow them to do those things without having to go into the form designer itself to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know that you can point to a data source for a label, but you can't change like watermark text for a text field, or you can't change visibility,
Mm-hmm.
things like that way. But so anyway, I was just trying to think it through is what I'm doing, and just kind of getting your thoughts before I even go too far into it, because I want to make sure I'm on the right track.
Sure, sure. The only thing, so I know a little bit of what we can do, and let me just debug this thing I'm testing one more time. Man, this JSON is just going to be the end of me. Oh, okay, now it's going to go for those things. All right, so let me show you what I'm doing. So essentially what you can do, I think I have the thing right here, is there's a certain amount of steps you can utilize inside decisions to get you access to like the properties of
Okay.
that are on that form, and also the form controls that are on that form. The only question that I have just from thinking about it is I don't know of how well you could save it. So basically we can find the data and it's there. I just don't know if we can save it. So that's the only kind of thing that would have to be tested. Like, can we actually save that information, or are we just kind of grabbing at it and we can just view it? So that's going to be the main question that we'll have to um, look at it as we traverse it. Let me just fix this one JSON property. I feel like I'm so close to it. And I'll tell you a pitfall to be very careful with.
Mhm.
It's a root container. Oh, okay, I gotta go to that one. Root container. I just want to change everything to be decimal. All right, cool. So it's going to be spinning on my screen right now.
We're still seeing the lunch and learn announcements shared.
Okay. How about now? Nope, I need the other one.
Yep.
Wrong thing. All right. So what are the two steps? Here's the hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Two steps you'll need are these two. They are call internal services steps if you're utilizing version 9, or you can find them via the form service in version 8 by going to integration internal services and looking for form service. How these
Mhm.
steps work is you select the form service in the
Yep.
register form session, and it
Mhm.
basically just asks you for a form ID, which you can easily
Mhm.
get by right-clicking the designer element. So I'm already thinking in my head, you can get a report viewer that lists all of the forms you have in a given folder, and
Mhm.
then you have the ID as a invisible property,
Right.
and then use that as a filter change data source to say, okay, if I select, student loan application FSU form 1, right, show all the different labels and controls on it, right, and then I
Mhm.
need to see the back end dorm housing preference, or form. Well, then that you can left click that and see the properties therein. So all this
Mhm.
does, takes in a form ID and then outputs a form session. Now what this next step does is it takes that output
Mhm.
of this register form session, which gives you the session info data. So that's kind of what's getting out of here, what's coming out of this step. Now, what is that get session register form session output? If you expand it, it only has like 4 properties, where it can show you the control data as a data pairs, and you can also get access to the form session info if you want to get even more data inside of it. So what I did here is I said, hey, I want to get the entire surface of that form as a JSON in a JSON package. And
Mhm.
so that's what this outputs. It outputs just a JSON string of everything. And so now kind of what I was trying to do is um, I validated my data and it looks like this. Now the thing that you're going to want to do, this is the error that I messed up in, is
Mhm.
once you format the data and get it looking pretty, make sure that anytime you see like a number here, always add a decimal to it. Because what I've run into now, and I can demonstrate that error because that's what I'm actively experiencing, is as I fix something, right, I got an error. And that's because if I expand this, it tells me that input string 0.0 is not a valid integer, which is correct because it's a decimal.
Right.
And then it tells you that, hey, for the root container row gap property on the root container, that's the data type that's incorrectly mapped. So because I didn't take the time to go through this and just add a dot zero at the end of every single like number here, the columns like 1.0, when I added that kind of serialized JSON and made a type from it, it now thinks it's integers. So now I have to go back and find row gap in my process here. So root container, I think it's like what, row gap? And then, or did it say children? I always forget what the rows. Form surface root container row gap. Okay, so it is the property row gap. And then now if I go here, let's see, where is it? Row gap, see how both these are integers? So I'm just going to preemptively change the column gap because I'm pretty sure that's going to get frustrated on that one and change this one to decimal. And now when I do that, unfortunately, I probably won't fix it because there's a bunch of other properties I need to do this to. But you get the picture that if I do it to all those properties, then what I can do is any form ID that I get passed out from it. So right here, it's going to say 0.4 corner radius, right? So now I have to go to the corner radius property to fix that. But let's say I'm not gonna waste the time. You get the picture. If
Right.
you fix all of that to decimal,
Right.
then the deserialization will work in decisions. And when you get the output to come out of it, it will look like kind of, a pretty JSON formatter like it would in any
Okay.
in a way. And then you can drill down into it, grab properties and stuff like that. So that's
Mhm.
kind of how you would start with getting that data. The next step would be determining like how we want to report on that data. Would you use a flow source report? Would you actually save it to a database and then like pull it out when you need it? That would be
Mhm.
the kind of more of the storage aspects we'd have to determine. But what
Mhm.
I would do initially is I would try to figure out, um, you know, I think figure out how to save it because I think what we can do, we'd have to say fetch the element. See, I'm not sure. That's the only thing I would have to figure out is the saving part. I wouldn't know.
Because
We'd
you're
have to
going to
test
save
it.
it back to the actual metadata structure, right? Is that what you're saving it back to?
That I don't know.
Okay.
It might be, because I'm not sure
Yeah.
where to get that data. Like I said, I'm not
Yeah.
sure that's the part that really needs testing. I think the first iteration is if for you is like build out this process, create like two small forms that have three controls on it,
Mhm.
report on it, and make sure you get the parent and child filtering working. So I can click on form one, shows me the controls, form two, right?
Mhm.
And then once
Mhm.
you get there, that's when we'll have to ask the question, like, would we be using a save entities, right? Where we pull the element registration of that form and pass it in
Mhm.
here? I'm not sure. I would have
Mhm.
to, I'll do some more digging to kind of figure that part out. But that would be to me the only part that could prevent that kind of feature from working, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Mhm. Okay. So if that save entities, if what you're talking about there is actually finding the actual entity that that has all this data you're pulling from those steps, right?
Say that one more time.
This registration from session and the get form session surface, those
Hmm.
two steps there, those
Yep.
are actually going against a table that you're going to do the save entities on, right?
I'm going to table. It
I
may.
mean, where else would it be getting this data
Yeah, it would
from?
have to be.
So that's what I'm saying is like, why wouldn't I just do a fetch entities from that table and grab the items I want from it instead of doing these others these steps here?
Because I think you have to when you get into the part of changing some of the stuff, like for example, if I just do element registration, right? And this is actually really good because you're actually kind of extending the limits of my decisions knowledge. The big question here is, right, if I go and just fetch element registration, and let's say I just do it by a certain type, and let's where's behavior type? I don't think that's the right one. That was registration type. I'm trying to filter out all of the uh, we'll just say is form. So I'm gonna get all of the forms that we have in the system. What this gives me is it won't give me, I should eliminate them, is it's not gonna give me necessarily the form controls that are inside of it.
Right.
Let me run this one more time and I'm just gonna say get the first 10. so that it's not too crazy. And so that's the part where I'm not sure what that table is that
Right,
actually
that it has the
houses that
controls.
data.
Right.
Exactly, because it could be in like a
Okay.
serialized byte.
I see. Yeah, that would
Right.
be a problem. Yeah.
Exactly, right. So I'm not sure
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
going to it would really help.
Okay. Yeah. So I might have
Yeah.
to use those steps. Okay. Yeah. I'm just used to all metatables. Like in our ERP system, all the metadata tables are just tables. They're not like
Yeah.
serialized bytes and stuff like that. They're actual tables you can look up the controls on and figure it out.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking, to do.
I
Because I
got you.
only
And if
want certain ones. I don't want them going hog wild on this, and I want total control over that per form.
exactly. No, yeah, totally makes sense. And it very well might be those meta tables. I'm just not sure. I think the only maybe in the entity header data table, it might be there. We can actually look at that real quick.
I did find
Just
the one that has all the structure for like case entities, the one that has like all the data and the data
mhm.
elements and like the variables and what they are, string, whatever, size, all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff, which is going to be useful too. But yeah, I just wasn't sure if the forms had something similar, like each form, and then it had a different table that had all the elements, and then all the elements, what their attributes were.
Mhm. There we go. I want to see what we have here. Top any short name run. Yeah, and this is just going to show you just all entities, everything inside of it, and the table name.
Well, I can definitely play with those steps and do those, what you were talking about to get that. But yeah, it's going to be a matter of saving it back
Yep,
so that the form now has those changed values on it. So they can bring
exactly.
that up.
Yeah,
And that's the key. That's what we want to be able to do. Because
yeah.
we just have a bunch of, they work in an office out in a department somewhere on campus, and they don't
Hmm.
want to have to learn decisions to get in there. And I don't necessarily want them in
Hmm.
decisions, monkeying with forms, because they could
Sure.
easily, if I have to give them access to a form to edit it, they can do all kinds of damage.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So I want to be able to take a form, pull off its elements and say, okay, they can edit these things and that's it.
Yep. And
Um,
then filter only by that. Yeah.
yeah, and then when I can just create a step that, pulls all that the form, when it builds, it pulls all that stuff in to build form.
Hmm. No, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's just investigating the saving part, which I think you might most likely can do. Because there are, and the reason why I think the answer is more likely a yes than no is because inside of a lot of these projects, when I go into those flows, there
Mhm,
are steps to like add different columns to different truth tables, and so where people can edit it via a flow.
mhm.
And then you can create your flow just to run the edit, process instead of actually having to, hey, navigate to this, click on this, and then
Right,
they change the
right,
form entirely.
right.
So it's
Yeah,
just more of a level of effort kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it'd be nice to know if there are meta tables for that, so that
I
I
could
could
take that.
do
Yeah, I'll take
something
that
like
offline
that.
and see if I can find that out.
Yeah,
What?
if not, if I need to, I can submit a ticket to whatever works.
Yeah,
I don't know how to really go about that, but
that would
I
definitely be
can,
a support ticket. I would definitely ask that because they might
okay,
definitely may know that.
okay.
Um,
I'll go
but
ahead
I'll
and
also do some work
resubmit
too.
this as a support ticket as well then.
Okay.
And that's them, but yeah, this helps. I'll be able to play with those steps and see what I can do with them. You
Mm.
didn't see a step in there that saves it back.
Yeah, no, that part I
Okay,
didn't see, and I think
okay.
the part that I'm looking at is I didn't get to the part where I can actually collapse that data.
Yeah.
Get that deserialized. But what you can see is, I think man, this coloring is really awful. Can I make this? There we go. Wow. Is the property that has the form controls, right? If you drill down, I think it's in a thing called let's see, children, because we can go a little farther. That's this component ID. I'll highlight the ones. So for example, like the client children info, that's the grid that we're looking at right here, the
Hmm.
column span, the row.
Hmm.
Then it shows you the columns that we have, so you can get access to each individual column. Shows you the rows. Where is that's still the grid. Here's the attribute name, so you're kind of getting close to it. So this one's my number box that I put on,
Right.
but where is it? There is. I just want to find the property for you so you can at least know what you're looking at. Because I want to say, there we go, found it. So it's like custom DOM attributes, input box, right? So you get the ID input box.
Uh-huh.
I believe that's the one. And then in this child silver
There's
dark,
label attributes. Right there in the
exactly.
middle. Watermark text. I think.
Watermark, exactly. Watermark text, maximum numbers, the text that's
Yeah,
inside of it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So it's like you're the child,
right.
is it? So it's a very deeply nested type. It's like
Mhm.
under, let's see, what is it? Scroll the way up a little bit more. It'll be under root container, which makes sense. Then a list of children. Then after you go through, like here's my component name button right there. Boom, outcome path data. So I can even see the names from there. So basically root container and then list of children, and then it's kind of finding inside the list of children what the form control is.
I'll take a look at that.
Awesome, awesome.
Cool.
And I'll go ahead and keep this back on. All right. Any
Appreciate
other
it.
questions? Yeah, my pleasure. Any other questions? Go right ahead, Martin. You have the ability to speak.
Yeah, just a quick question. Could you do you have videos that are specifically covering the rule creation steps where you go, that entity equals X, right? The versus the other aspects of the software.
Rule equals X.
Yeah, you know that when you go in and you provide and you create the if-then statements.
Yes. Uh-huh. I'm with you.
So I'm just looking for some kind of a video that provide an overview or some detailed instructions on how to better understand and use that and implement that that functionality.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So basically just kind of like the basics of the rule
Yep,
designer, like the how to create a if step. So it's not you're not trying to do like something automatic with a flow, right?
that is correct. I mean, ultimately I will, but in this case, I'm just looking for a good overview video to kind of make sure that I understand the key points.
Sure,
We
sure.
def
I
we
think go ahead.
definitely 100% do. This is Robert, by the way. I'm actually looking through it right now. A lot of the stuff on our YouTube channel is unlisted, but we have a ton of stuff. I will look through it here in the next like 60 seconds or so. I do know that I just made one on rule collection filters, which has a rule, but it more focuses on the rule collection filter aspect than the rule itself. But I'll have information for you here in about 60 seconds.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Thank you so much to both of you.
Yeah, our pleasure. Yeah, I thought we did. Thanks for coming in clutch, Robert. All right.
And hey Marty, are you on version 8 or version 9? Are you
I
using?
think I'm on 8. I think for whatever reason, I think I'm on 8.
No problem with that at all.
Um,
No problem at all. There's nothing wrong with that. I just didn't want to send
no,
you something
let's
about
take a.
9. Uh,
So I'm on version 8 product training, but I think ultimately, I think we're deploying on 9. That's my guess.
okay. Yeah, no problem, man. I know I just moved your container over on training 2. Let me just look into it really quick. I already have it pulled up because I was looking at something else.
And as you do that,
Um, no, you're on the one that I made for you a couple days ago is on 9.
Okay.
So the training02.decisions.com, that is 9. Your older one, I don't remember. It was like 69003 or something. Is that right? Your URL is at
Um,
69003.
I'll tell you in a second here. I have bookmarks. Yes, 0003 was the
Thank you.
previous try decision server,
Good
which
man.
is no longer
Valid.
um,
Up.
valid, which I do need to have access to those.
I I thought
To
on
those,
Friday I got it up for
I
you,
thought
didn't
you
I?
did too, and then now it's no longer
Oh, I know what it is. It's
working. So I
on.
think it went back offline.
No, I know what it is. It's so I put it on node 5 on Friday, and then our node 5 is full, so we have our like ops team messing with it right now. So it is live, but the node that
Okay,
parents it is not live. So I will follow up with you personally once it bounces up. But
okay.
I remember logging into it on Friday to look at where you were at in training challenges, so I know it was up on Friday.
Right. Yeah, and I logged in, and now I can't. So that's explained.
Yeah.
That all makes sense. Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll just wait for that to get back up because I need to have those completion codes to advance
Yeah. And I can
through
just
the
give
other
those
training.
I can just give those to you.
Okay, that would be fine
If it
too.
takes more than 10 minutes, I can just, or if it's not 10 minutes, but if it's going to be a little bit longer, I can just send you the codes to get through because I remember looking on Friday and seeing that you had done it all.
Yeah, I had, and it's good to have those in to be able to review at some point as well. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll cede the floor here. Thank you so much.
no
Appreciate it,
problem.
Robert.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool, cool. Any other questions? I'm just building out, James, I'm just building out your thing further because I finally got the serialization to work. So that's what I'll be doing for the next, couple minutes.
Cool.
Let's say separator. So form surface, then where's the root container? Aha. And then I want just component names. Component name, what outputs? It's just one? Really? Root container. That'd be a list. Do I
Wasn't
gotta,
children?
there we go. Children. Ah, there we go. It is all child. From children, all child. But I don't want the first child. I want them all. So about the root container. So what's the, okay, so what's the component name? Build array. Let's select from flow. Draw here. Form surface. And then we have root container. And then I have component name. So what's the component name? Just so I can understand what I'm passing. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, okay, yeah, that's the root grid. Okay. So that's why it's just one. So if I select from flow, I don't want null. And I go drill down here. And then I go to form surface. And then I go to, let's see, where do we go? Children. I lost children. I lost my child. Root container, because I'm not there yet. And then if we go to, because that's just where, so right now we're just on the grid. So that makes sense. So now if I go to list of children, right? And then all child. And then we got type, background, columns, component name. There we go.
Okay.
So let's see if that gives us, so I'm thinking that we should see 3 things or 4 things maybe. So, okay, so we're close. So not yet. So this is just the bottom bar in the contents. So that's not what's inside of it. So let's drill down even further. So from children, not all component name. Let's see, all columns, all component name, all requested, row gap, tab order. Let's see, first, also, let me make sure that that form that I'm actually talking to, let me make sure it's at the form that I think that I'm talking to. Okay, I do have, so just so you know for context, this is
Mhm.
the form that I have. So I'm looking to see these 2 things and this guy. That's what
Okay.
I'm trying to find. So I should have number box, text box, and then a button. And that should
Okay.
be the 3 controls, right? So that's what I'm hoping to find. All right, so let's go ahead. So we got from children. Let's go kind of up. Let's do, let's go back to children and let's do, I think I did what, all child? I think I did all child before. I could be wrong. Let's do all children again, and then we'll do all children. Let's try component ID. I don't think, I hope it's not just IDs. I hope it's like actually something. Nope, darn it, it's all IDs. That's not useful for end users. I mean, it's helpful for us, but. So if it's all children from, okay, so we don't want all component ID. So I'm in children 2. And we got all component ID. I can do all child again. All data names, all component name. Okay. Right. Yeah. So like I said, it's just a level of effort thing. So it's
Yeah.
really far down in this tree. But like I said, I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
we do have it. All component name. Okay. Now I'm expecting that I should have those 3 things. Boom. Haha. Button, number box, text box. Cool.
Yeah.
And then we got button number. Okay, so that's helpful. So
So now you're down to that
now
level. Now you got to get to the attributes of each one, right?
the what?
The attributes of each one, like
Yeah. So if I wanted to, so yeah, the only hard part would be, oops, that's not what I wanted. Is probably what we would do. How do we display this? Because we get all children. So basically, if I think this is it. This would give us
Mhm.
all of it.
Yeah, that's
So
going
I
to give you a list of all the fields, right?
exactly the component name.
But it does it give you the labels too?
Let me put a label. I didn't put a label on my form. I think it would, but let's put a label on
Okay,
the form
yeah,
just to make sure.
because that's really at the end of the day, most of the time, that's what they're going to want to change is the label.
That's true. Good point. So
Not
let's say this is my, I don't
90% of
know,
the time.
cost number box. Well,
Mhm.
label, just so I know from a standpoint there. Boom. And then I have here, this is the text number box label. Text number box label. Not, that made no sense. The text box label.
Mhm.
Naming is so important. All right, so we got labels. So now I think we should have 5 things that should come up now. Let's go back in here. Let me go back here. Let me debug this. I think I still have the same thing. So all children, so children 2, child 2. And I think it was all component name.
Yeah.
I think that's what we selected. So let's see. So button, number
Cool.
box, text box,
Yeah.
cost number label, text box number, text box label. So yeah, those labels will come in. And yeah, so that gives us the ability. If I drill
Now that
down in here, go ahead.
that what you were displaying, was that the actual data name or the text that could be changed? Because I don't want to change the data name.
I don't believe that's the data name. We can go back. So there is an actual property here called all data names.
Gotcha. That's what
So
that is. Okay.
yeah,
Yep.
this is
Yep.
actually just what I've named it.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think, let's go back to
Okay.
here, but just to confirm, I always like to confirm, right? So I'm gonna call this just to be goofy, we'll say this is the cheese number box. So if I see a cheese number box, then we know that that it does confirm that we are just getting the name of it and not anything else. Yep, cheese number box, boom.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's just the actual name that you put on it.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So that is very helpful. All right, so now, so if I know I have this, we got this kind of configured. Next, I want to see if I can actually build this for you. Let's see if I can give you just the, if there's no questions, but if anyone still has questions, right, I'm just gonna keep building this. But pop a question, I don't mind answering. But what I'll give to you, are you on version 9, James?
We are.
Okay, perfect. Because what I'll do is if I build something out with a
Mhm.
dashboard, I'll just send you this export so you can mess
Oh,
with
that'd
it.
be cool.
So you
That'd
can,
be really
yeah.
cool.
So let's see how fast I can go. So let's see, I want to make, okay, we got a public folder. And I'm gonna say this is display all form controls. Or display forms and controls. Now here's the part that's gonna be hard. So if I do this, and I'm gonna grab another, I'll create another form. This is gonna be my second form. Then let me add, I'm gonna add a date time. Say this is DTS picker. And we'll say this is the DTS date time picker. And then I'll add a button that says select, select. And then we'll call this the select button. And so now, let's see, let's add another one that we haven't done. Let's add a checkbox. And so this will be the bool checkbox. This would be the, let's see, bool checkbox DN for data name. Cool. Okay, so now I got two forms. So now I can illustrate this. So now I know what I would have to do is I'd have to get a report. We'll say this is display my forms. And we're going to do this. The last part of this, you'll need a created edit form session, and then you'll be able to save it. I've done something like this for us. Okay, cool. That's what I thought we would need something like that. So we'll see. Right now, I just want to see if I can get the reporting function out of it. So if I do element registration, and then we go to entity names, entity, entity name, and then I'm going to add a 4-folder filter because I don't care about all this 4-folder. We'll pick the folder. I'll go recent. I want my forms folder, and boom, and that should get boom. Okay, so now I got my 2. I'm also going to add the component registration ID because I think I'll need that. And I will send this as a filter change data source. I'll call this SID with a C because we're cool. And then also set this as in, let's see, I'll leave this in visible for testing, but obviously you can just make it invisible for end users because they don't care about that. All right, cool. So we got this. It's going to send it as a filter change data source. So then, not this is the part where it's the reporting of this other one that's going to be, because then what I want to do is let me create a page real quick. Create page. And let's see. I don't think it'll be performant though. That's the thing I'm worried about. Report viewer. No. It's display page for displaying control forms and controls. Forms and controls. Okay, cool. And then we have our first report viewer here, which is going to be pick. Oh, not the folder. Pick existing, display my forms. Okay, cool. So that will display the forms. Boom, we got the 2. And then we need another one, another report. I just don't know where to get this data from. Because what you could do, I just don't want to create another data type. Here's what I'm thinking, and if there's concessions you can make, I may create it with a data type. I don't want to. What I'm thinking is right now the problem that I have is I need to fetch the other data. So I can do one of 2 things. One of them is non-performant, so I don't recommend it, but I'll show it. Is I can go to my other report, create another report, and we'll say this is the flow source report. And it's a flow source report. Flow report sourcing. What's it called? Darn it. Flow source. Okay, well, I'm just going to make it because basically what we have to do is I have to create this flow. We're going to duplicate this because it's essentially going to be this. So I do more. Copy. Oh, there it is. Why is it there? And this is going to be report sourced getting controls flow. So I create the copy. And so what I'm going to do is instead of this, I'm going to say this is create an input and call this the form ID. No. It's not that. It is, don't save. So we got this join strings. Hold on, I got to change this. So report source, and I need to change the behavior of this. Edit, view, more. Advanced, set flow behavior, and it's like report source. Report data source flow. Boom. All right, cool. So now I got that one. Input data that needs to be passed into this flow. So I don't think, and then we can do whatever the output data is. Oh, yeah, so this will get us to report on it. Join strings. All right, so that's gonna be the output of it. It's yelling at me. Why is it upset? Yeah, I got it. Is it a list? Join string. That's why. Haha. I thought I was doing the other one. So I would remove this, and then we would remove this. Then what I would do is it would be a component name list of strings. And then that's where I have to select from flow, JSON, form surface, root container, children, and then I go for children, all child, all children, all child two, and then all component name. And I believe then we would do a get page variable on this. We'll see if this works. Get page variable, and the variable would be SID. The expected type is a string. Connect that here. Instead of it being a constant, we're going to select from flow and get the page data. And so that should pull that. So if I create another report, this is the flow source report way that I don't recommend flow reports. What is it? Get controls. Please check the log. I gotta check the logs. Come on. Come on. Decisions, don't do that to me. I gotta check the logs. All right, so we go applications, systems, logging. Oh, is it because it's not an object? Is that why? Well, let's go back and let's run it. So does it have to be an object? If it has to be, well, that's fine. Okay, so if you want an object, because I think that's what that's saying, object is not object. Of course, the page ID context ID won't be found, which is fine because it doesn't. All right, I think that's a misnomer, and I'm going to check by doing it this way. Let's go to pages, add it here. I'm going to add this report viewer. We're going to pick this flow source report. We're going to pick this, and then let's attach this to a dashboard, and then we can make sure that add page that it is actually airing out. But right now, go through here, more details. Okay, so it is airing out. So if I go back to the logs here and I refresh this, error ring step. Okay, so this one's different. This one is saying, can I look at this? Come on. Please. Why is it that way? Let me see if I can look at this in a notepad to make it bigger. All right, so scroll all the way up. Inflow error. Inflow get from. Okay, so it's not getting it. It's null. Okay, cool. That's easy. We could fix that. So that's, I don't see where it says. I don't see my SID anywhere. That's weird. Let me make sure that I actually saved that. Maybe I didn't. Component registration ID. Yeah, send filter. Okay, yeah. SID, filter change source name. Okay, so that should be able. So let me go back to the flow source report. I guess that's just a filter. That wouldn't really do that. Thinking. You need to change it on the page, I guess. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm just kind of confused. Well, let's do it through here. Let's see, I'm in 9. Oh, I'm in 9.3, or I'm still 9.2. I think it's the latest 9.2. Robert, can you confirm that for me? What the latest version of 9 is? 9.2 or 9.2.1? I don't remember. Cause that's weird because I don't see my SID coming out anywhere.
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
Cause it should, right? Like I should see a SID equals this. Okay. So if that doesn't, so if I can't get it from there, if I can't get it from there,
It's 9.2.1.74130.
okay, so I wonder if this is a bug on my local. Cause that is weird, cause I should be getting, um, right, this should be sending it to a folder change data source. And I think I confirmed that I did that. With this, component registration ID, send change, send data as filter change data source. Okay, and then we have filter. Yeah, because I would give you the form. Hold on. My brain just left me hanging. I had a route and then just stopped me abruptly. Because I think now because so if I can't get it that way, which is what I initially thought, what is the other way that we could get it? Let's try. Let us try. If I go back to the reports. No, I need to go back to the flow because I need to go back to the report source flow. So if there's no page variable called SID anywhere, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, we'll say let's do form. I'm going to say give an input form ID. And we'll give that there. And then we'll change the input mapping of this to take in the form ID. And then we'll click OK. I know. And so now if I go back to this page, yes, it's going to error because it's going to be null again. I'm pretty confident of that. Yep. Inflow report source because it is null. So this is my dashboard. Whoa, that's a bug. See that?
What's that?
It's up here on this one. So
Oh,
I don't
oh,
know. That's very weird. So it applies it to the public view. Yeah, I think that's just so I think I need to update my local to that. Because I'm pretty sure that's what I need. Because the problem is if I click into this, that does not know. I guess it loses the context.
mm,
Weird. But go to folder view, appears right here.
huh, wow.
That is interesting. Because I feel like that's the part that I need to get it to work. Because if I got this, the display, if I move it, okay, here we go. I wonder if it's just a move. Like if I move this, okay, I want to move, and I just want to move this to public. Does it get it? Oh, really? Public view behavior? So can I just more? I can only get a folder ID. It moved it. What? Okay. Okay, no, it didn't move it. I thought it did. So, but I don't understand. I think this might be where it stops me. Because I don't know of another way. Go back to the flow. To get that data. Reporting data will take in simple inputs and outputs need to be a list. I think this is fine here. It's just this is the thing. I believe it's not this. I believe close state change will do. Get page variable. And I'm pretty sure it's this. If I do SID, what are the other options? Folder URL variable. Let's see, I'm trying to think of another way. Folder ID. This is gonna be very dumb. This I wouldn't recommend. uh, I'm just trying to see if I can just get it to display. Theoretically, this should work.
Mhm.
I can do, is it really worth it to do this thing? Because I think I can get the picture. You're a variable, because I can get the folder ID, fetch the elements by that. Now there's no way, because I have to know what the user selected, and
Right,
that's why
yeah.
I need this page variable, because that's what is what the user selected, and it's string. Because if I don't have that, then it's just kind of me trying to work around this bug. Element extension data category. Okay, I don't know what this is. Page data. So I can't apply a page to this. Because yeah, it's failing to load. If I go back to my report, get value, flow source report. Not a filter. I mean, it could. I think I'm doing this wrong. This part's the hard part for it. Okay, I'm gonna think it's a bug. I'm gonna export this and send it to you, James.
Okay,
See if you have that same issue where it's like it doesn't appear your
on the dashboard.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Because that's the big problem there is I need to be able to send that to this other flow source reporting to get
Mhm.
that information from it. Unless I name it Sid. Hold on, I have one more thing I want to test. I want to test this and maybe it will work. Reports. Flow source reporting, not flow source reporting, flows. And instead of calling it this, I'm actually going to set up an input and name it exactly what I named it there. And I'm wondering if it'll find it now. I don't think so, but it's worth a shot. Sid. Okay, it still has the same error, I believe. Yeah, it's gonna say it's null. So it still can't get it from that. Because what did I change? I just blanked. What did I change? I changed. Okay, because I said that that's the input for it. So what's the report the need if that changes it? Net report doesn't change anything on what it needs. Okay. Okay. So I wonder if that's just where it's at. Get page variable. And then if I say folder ID, that's just going to give you the folder ID. I just want to display data. And then say folder ID, fetch entities. Okay, I got it. I got it. No results. And I want to get element registration. And then we're going to get the entity folder ID. Entity folder ID. Entity folder ID. Okay, we actually don't need this because it's just that doesn't work. But this will. And let me go back here. More, get designer folder ID. Copy the text. Boom. And then I say the entity folder ID is a constant. This. And let's see if this actually works. So if I debug this, it errors out. Yep, because it actually had data. So then I display this. And I say select from flow, and we're going to grab the first one. And we're going to say component registration ID, component registration ID. And so now I think it obviously will just display the first one, but at least we get to see what that looks like. It says no data to display. All right. Show global debugger. Turn this on. Refresh this. It ran. Okay, so it did get it. Let's turn this off. But it's not display in this report view. I just want to get to display the report because then I feel like I can give you at least something that's interactable.
Mhm.
And then we can mess with it. So if what's the output here? Component name list. Okay, I wonder if it's just because it's a list of strings. So if I show editor, oops. Let's say I got 1 minute. See if I can do this in 1 minute. Super fast. Data Explorer. If I go to JSON, form surface, that's going to be, darn it, root container. Then it's going to be children. I do all child, scroll down. I think there's all children, all child. I think it's that one. So I'd have to do all child too. So show editor, child, a form, child. It's going to be child 2. Boom, save. JSON to serialize. We're going to do it to form surface, root container, go to children, all child, all children, and all child. Okay, now it doesn't like that one. Oh, that's why. Darn it, why did I do that? List. Oh. Come on, go back to JSON. Form surface, root container, children, all child, all children, all child. And then I have to go back to that report and change. This is save. Because I presume now, reports, flow source report. Now if I go to add, yes, I can do component name. There we go, boom. So it has to be a composite type, so that's something we learned. And now if I go back to this thing should display data now, boom. Okay, so here's how it would somewhat look like. I feel better about sending this to you than the other one. So yeah, I think it's just test out to see if that thing will appear. And it looks
Mhm.
like, wait, what happened? Oh, looks like it's appearing now. I wonder, maybe it's because I didn't have it as a composite type, but that's weird. But yeah, now it's working. I think there's just a bug in my environment. I think that's what it is. I need to update. I want to export this to you and I'll send it to you, James.
Okay.
But I believe essentially that's what it will be. What you'll be doing is that getting something like that and you can display the buttons to the right. The thing that I don't recommend utilizing the flow source reporting because the more it's not performant at all. And it sounds like this is going to be something that needs to be pretty scalable. And
Mhm.
so I have to check out. Oh, I just want to download it. Can I just export? Oh, there we go. Let me just export the project. That's what I want to do. Phew. Yeah, I'm gonna send this to you right now. What I would probably I mean, I think maybe the best thing to do. No, but then you have to maintenance that. It's just a difficult problem. What I would do. Here's what I would do. Build it with the flow source report, but like do some performance testing with it. Because if
Uh-huh.
it's something where a lot of people are going to be, if there's a lot of forms you have to pull from, because remember that flow's got to run every time someone clicks on a different thing, right?
Right.
And so that could exponentially be pretty performance heavy. And if it does need to be more stable, then I'd recommend finding some way to do kind of like a lookup table where it's like form ID,
Right.
this is the list of controls, and you can, pull that back out and like some type of like a, what is it? Not one to many table, and then join it that way, because
Mhm.
that would be better performant, instead of this way. So
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
awesome. Right, cool.
Cool.
All right.
Appreciate it, Jared.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for your guys' kind attention, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. So take care.